So, welcome. I have officially lost count as to how many presentations or webinars this is. I do know I'm going to somewhere around the middle of June. We are slowly working our way in half-hour conversation increments down the Delaware River, and we will slowly be going north up along the Jersey Shore and ending in the New York Harbor. Currently, tonight, we are going to be talking about the Delaware River between the Delaware Memorial Bridge and the Cohansey River. Doing this in partnership again with Captain John Anderson, Happy Captain's Boating Instruction, and Sea Scout Ship 117. A couple quick housekeeping items. First up, it is really helpful if you refrain from using profanity and try to treat everybody and everything with respect. Before we started recording, I did mention that we do try to record this, and we are recording this currently. And after this meeting, we go back and we edit the video. While we're editing the video, it is really difficult to find all those nuances and remove them. So the fewer things we have to edit, the better. Number two, please try to keep your camera off and your camera muted unless you have to ask a question. If you have to ask a question, please feel free. There is even a button where you can raise your hand. There's a 3 dots at the bottom right. If you click that, there's a raise your hand button. You can press that, and we'll see that you are looking to help us, or either ask a question or provide a comment. Before we get to talking about the charts, and before I bring up the charts and start looking at stuff, I always like to provide a little bit of kind of education and about things they would see in the area that we're going to be boating. Leading up to this point on the Delaware River, we are now no longer in the I'll call it kind of residential area of the Delaware River. There are really no more marinas facing the river the entire way from here to the ocean. There are a couple of commercial ports, but for the most part, in order to get to a recreational marina, you have to go up a tributary or up a canal to a safer location to dock your boat. Or maybe you're going to go to someone's house and they may have a pier that goes into the Delaware River or into the Delaware Bay. But that's going to be a rarity because now this is nearing a very unprotected waterway at this point. Something that you're going to see very frequently in this area specifically is going to be very high. It's a very high commercial traffic area, specifically because we have a junction of a couple waterways. You're going to find here that we have the Delaware River and we have the C&D Canal. This is basically a fork in the road where we have half our traffic that are either going up the Delaware River and making a hard port or hard left to go to the Chesapeake Bay, or they're going up to Philadelphia. There's another option where they're coming out of the C&D Canal and they're getting on the Delaware River and they're either going north or south. So there tends to be a whole lot of heavy commercial traffic in this area. So if you're going to be transiting in this area on your recreational boat, you need to be paying attention. And the boats actually move a whole lot quicker than you expect them to be traveling. Some of these are moving between 5 and 10 knots, or in miles per hour. You could say between 5 and 10 miles per hour. It doesn't sound fast, but when you think about these ships that are the size of skyscrapers, a skyscraper is moving at 10 miles an hour or 15 miles an hour. That's fast. And if you get in their way, or if you're not paying attention, it can be upon you pretty quickly. There are also a couple of different types of ships that you'll see coming through here. Some of these are container ships that will have no security zones. Some of these will be a fuel, like a bulk fuel vessel, and they will have a security zone escorting them. At the end of this year, 2025, going into 2026, we're going to be having Norwegian is opening up shop in Philadelphia. So we are going to start seeing cruise ships coming up and down the Delaware River into Philadelphia. So they will start having a security zone following them, and they carry their just like I believe it's a 500-yard radius around them, which is a slow no wake zone. Okay. Something else to pay attention to on in this area. Not only do we have moving commercial traffic, but we have stationary commercial traffic. I'm showing here excerpts of two anchorages, defined anchorages on the Delaware River. When we bring up the charts in a little bit, we'll be seeing where they are. On the charts, when you're going to be coming out of different areas, specifically on this chart, if I were to zoom this out to the right, it would be the Salem River. And if you're coming out, this ship off in the distance is moving from screen to the left to the screen to the right. That vessel is moving. But believe it or not, the tugboat in the distance that we can see off to the right, and he is anchored. He is anchored in this anchorage area, nice and safe and free of movement. He doesn't even have to have an anchorage light to indicate that he is anchoring, whereas the ship that we saw on the screen is traveling in this direction. Okay, so it can be deceiving. You kind of have to know what you're looking at when you're going out there. Just kind of know that things might not necessarily be what you expect, but know what the charts are. Know and don't be afraid to kind of look ahead and understand what you're looking at. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the charts. Any question about this so far? Okay, tonight we are going to be using Argo. Okay. Every webinar, I like to rotate the chart application that I'm demonstrating. That way, maybe maybe a different viewer can connect with, maybe it's their app that they prefer. Before we even get started, I just want to make sure that I remind you to make sure that all your settings are correct. We've used this enough that all of our settings should be correct, but as I zoom in, there's a whole lot of noise that we're looking at here. Noise as in, I don't think I need to see all this satellite imagery. Let's get rid of some of that. Get rid of that, make it a standard map. Okay, now I don't have all that noise on the screen. Now when I zoom it in, now we have nice imagery. Now we have the charts, we have the buoys. That's really all that we need. If we want to change it further, we can change it to the NOAA chart. This was fighting me earlier today. It's not showing it again. But there it is. Okay, so the difference between the NOAA chart and the normal chart is you get a little bit more, not a little bit, but much more detail on the channels and on the contours and different markings. So just in this view, let's switch it back to the normal view or the standard view so you can see. Go back to the standard view, the exact same location. In this instance, all we can see, right? We can see the channel markers, which are the red buoy. So we have the red buoy, we have the green buoy, we have some hazard buoys, we have a anchorage buoy, and now we have other buoys over here. Stop sharing. I'll stop sharing. Stop annotating. If we go back to the NOAA chart and to compare it, now we have a little bit more detail. So they removed some of those. We've got to keep it zoomed in so we can see what they are. Now we can see what we thought was a anchorage buoy was actually a range light buoy. In previous webinars, we've talked about what range lights are, Delaware Memorial Bridge, and we'll start working our way south on the Delaware River. Okay, going south on the Delaware River, the first item and the first hazard that we're going to be coming across. Again, I want to reiterate this section of the river until we get to the ocean. I'm not going to necessarily be highlighting, hey, the marina is here and the marina is there, because there really is no marinas between here and the Delaware River. You have to go up a tributary or a canal to get them. We will highlight some of them, but you have to go off of the river to get to them. So there's just going to be areas of discussion. So the first thing that we're going to come across, I'm going to zoom out so you can see this, is Pea Patch Island. You can see it here. It's the Fort Delaware State Park and Pea Patch Island. Circle this so you can see it. Change it back to pink because it's nice and visible. It's here, and it goes this entire way. Nice, big, gigantic sandbar. The sandbar is not always visible at high tide. Some of it's just completely submerged in the water. But what is really nice is they put a whole bunch of these yellow lights on this to indicate that it's here, saying, hey, don't run this thing over. Okay, so if I zoom in, you might see them on this chart. Okay, here they are. I had to zoom in pretty close to see them populate on this NOAA chart. See them here, kind of have like this green hue to it. Here's one, but it's a yellow in real life. Here's another one. Here's another one. They are sporadic along the sandbar to indicate, hey, there's a hazard here. Don't run this thing over. Specifically highlighting it for the commercial traffic, recreation traffic benefits from it. And it's great that it's there. Okay. Not sure if we can see this here. If this is really difficult, this would be a highlight. Okay, as recreation boaters, we can, if we are going south or we're going north, we can go on both sides of Pea Patch Island. Okay, we don't necessarily have to stick to the channel because again, we only draft 5 feet. We don't draft a whole lot of water, so we can go in the shallow areas. And on that side of the, on both sides of Pea Patch Island, there's plenty of water to go in. You just don't want to cut too close to that sandbar that goes the entire way around. It's well marked. Just wait until you're a good indication as to when it is safe to cross over. When you are in safe water is going to be when you are officially kind of in the Newcastle area. If you need a good kind of landmark, there's a tall ship in the Newcastle area. I forget what it's called. Let's see if I can change this. Let's see here. So as you're going around Pea Patch Island, if you were going north, and if you wanted to know when it is safe to jump over this to get back on the channel going north, you would wait until you come across this pier. Okay, so you come across that pier. That pier is easily visible from the middle of the river. You can see the pylons, the old pylons, out of the water without any issue. And there's a tall ship that goes in and out there that does tours. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. It looks like an old pirate ship. It's there. It's usable, not usable, but they do tours on it. It's pretty cool. Okay. Okay. If you are going around Pea Patch Island, just be mindful of it. It's really long. Just kind of respect it. Don't run aground on it. Okay. Going south of it. Oh, I did not know you could do that with the. Look at that fancy stuff. Okay. Just to the south of Pea Patch Island. Go back to the NOAA chart. We come across Delaware City. Delaware City has the kind of the original C&D canal. Should be able to turn this and spin it. I'm going to spin this so that the canal is facing up to be a little bit easier to talk about. Okay. Spin. There we go. I do believe this is the only app that you can actually do that. You can spin the chart, spin the map freely with 2 fingers. Spin that around. Okay. This canal can be very, very tight and very busy on the weekends. The current also comes through here very swift. Okay, so it is a very narrow channel. The current comes through here very swift with a lot of water behind it. You have to keep that in mind. It can also get shallow in here, but there are some big boats that come in and out of here, so you should not have to really worry about that. Let's go in a little bit further here. As you're coming in and out of this area, feel free to come in. I like to hug the starboard side. There's going to be a bulkhead on the starboard side along with some docks. I like to hug the starboard side. But as you come in, there's going to be a dock, and that's where a ferry picks up that goes between right here in the middle of the screen where it says Fort Delaware State Park temporarily closed. Right here where it says Fort Delaware State Park temporarily closed, there is a ferry that goes between there and Pea Patch Island, Fort Delaware. That's constantly moving. They don't want to get in its way. They can throw a wake because it's a ferry. When it's docked there and it's picking people up, it will have its engine on, and sometimes it keeps its engine in gear. And when it does that, the prop wash can really mess up how you're operating your boat and the control of your vessel. Okay, right on the inside of the canal, where as you come in here, you'll find a public dock. There's a public dock here. On the weekends, it gets absolutely full. But during the week, every weeknight, it's absolutely beautiful. Great spot to tie up, good spot to go. I think Ed came with us one day during one of the trainings, so we went and tried to have dinner there. I mean, no, we had lunch there, right, Ed?
Yeah, that's
Ed, I'm
that's
not sure.
correct. We had a great lunch, and Captain Paul put us through the ringer, docking in current along that public dock.
Yes, and you'll be happy to. Not, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but Krabby Dick's is no longer as of the end of this month. They have
Uh,
that building has been sold, and the name shall be changing at the end
well,
of.
hopefully it's still good. I really enjoy. It was a great way to spend our final afternoon of training.
Yeah, it's going to be another restaurant, but the name is changing at the end of the month. I do know that. Okay, if you're going to come in here, I don't think I need to annotate this. Just know that the current can move and it can get really tight, and things can happen really quickly. So before you even come into this canal, if you're going to be docking, be talking to the Delaware City Marina on Channel 16 on your way into this canal. They're going to tell you what side you're going to tie up on, and have your lines and have your fenders and have your people ready to go. That way, as soon as you get up here, they're all at the end here. Just before this, there's a bridge here. You can see the dotted lines that go across the waterway there. Line here. There's a bridge that goes across right there. And the marina office, I'm not sure if you can see the little sailboat right there. That's where the marina office is. Okay, so 9 times out of 10, what they're going to have you do, they're going to have you bring your boat. Sorry, this pink just shows up real good on this chart. They're going to have you come in here, and they'll have a guy, either a dock hand, meet you along this dock. And they'll grab your lines, and they're going to help you. They will assist you placing your boat where it is that they intend to have you stay the evening or the weekend or your arrangements. Just make sure that you're communicating with them. You can feel free first you can reach out to them on channel 16, and then they'll advise you what working channel to go from on there. There is a ramp right here, the Delaware City boat ramp. I'll circle that. This is the Delaware City boat ramp. Again, with that current, sometimes it's ripping in or out. It can be tricky only because of the current. As long as you're good with your maneuverability and your close quarters maneuvers, it shouldn't be that difficult to handle. Just kind of know what you're doing, have your lines ready, and be on top of your game. And don't flinch with it. Okay, coming back out to the Delaware River, I'm going to rotate this chart again. back to, I'll put north back top center and zoom out so we can see where we're going. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, down to the south. Okay, right here we have a merger of kind of three waterways here. Waterway number one, I'll annotate this. Maybe before I do that, I got to zoom it out so we can see this a little better. Okay, at the beginning of this presentation, I talked about how we have this intersection and we get a lot of commercial traffic. So we have intersection number one. We have a commercial port over here in Delaware City that comes out to this traffic light, if you will. Next, we have boats coming in and out of Philadelphia, Wilmington, and Trenton area. Next, we have boats coming in and out of ships coming in and out of the C&D Canal. And we have ships coming in and out of the Atlantic Ocean. So you can imagine this can be a pretty busy area. So make sure that you're paying attention to where the boats are going, where the ships are going, where they're coming from. If you get confused, don't be afraid to reach out to them. They're going to be monitoring channel 13, that's channel 13 on their VHF radios. Yeah, don't be afraid just to reach out to them. Let them know where you're going, or ask them where they're going, or just, you don't want to get mixed up or have any incidents out there. Let's zoom in on this situation a little bit closer. So now that I'm zoomed in, the chart kind of defines the roads, right? So if I were to draw some sidewalks, see if this white will work. I'm going to draw some sidewalks here. Okay, all intents and purposes, that is the road on the water. And you have to just really pay attention to where you're going and what are you doing. And something else you have to pay attention to are these rock walls or these jetties. Let me circle them in red. There's a jetty over here. And there's a jetty right here. Oops, I covered it with the white. Unfortunately, every now and then, as people are coming and going from the C&D Canal and the recreation boats, they forget that these jetties are here. And what happens is they don't wait until they get to okay, so they don't wait until they get to the safe water. They don't follow that curb before they make the turn, and they wind up on top of the jetty. So make sure that you follow this curb out a ways before you make this turn, even in your recreation boat. You do not want to do, I didn't want that, I wanted a pen. You don't, pen. You don't want to do that, right? What you do want to do is you want to go out in the road and then follow it and then go up to your destination. Just make sure you're paying attention. There are some buoys out there, or there are channel markers to indicate where it is safe and when it is safe. Just try to stick to that specifically around the jetties, because you don't want to run up on top of some rocks. Same thing on the south side, except this jetty is also indicating that there is a sandbar on the southern side of the jetty. So you have the jetty up here, and then we have all this sandbar down here. We have some 7 feet, mostly 1 feet, 2 feet, 0, 0, 2. There is an area that where, if you're familiar with this local water, you can get back there, and some people can fish on the other side of this sandbar, but you really have to know where it is and how to get back in there. Okay, coming down, sliding down a little bit further south. I'll zoom back in. This is earlier in the beginning of this presentation. I talked about that anchorage, those anchorages, and I showed you where they are on the chart. This is that exact location on the chart in real time. So again, I'll trace this out for you here. I'll draw the curve here. Here's the curve for that anchorage area. All right, now ships, container ships, and tugboats, and you name it, can be anchored in this area. And they don't need to have an anchor light. They can just be anchored there as long as they need to. It's really kind of a staging location until they can go get permission to go further up, or they're waiting for supplies or whatever's needed. Just know that they could be there. So if you're coming out of the Salem River, it could just kind of be deceiving, especially if, zoom it out. Come on, keep it. Make it yellow this time. So it was roughly here. Annotate this. So if you're coming out of the C&D Canal and going south, you just got to be careful as to where you are and where these ships are in here. Are they anchored? Are they just sitting here? Are they actually moving in this channel over here? It can be very deceiving when you're operating your boat. Not only that, but you could also be coming out of this over here in this area. This is the Salem, New Jersey, and you could be coming out of the Salem River. When we come out of the Salem River, you can see you can see that possible issue here, right? So we could be coming out, and where is this boat? Is this boat in the channel, or is it in the anchorage? You just got to be able to pay attention and just know where it is. And it could be one in both areas or both scenarios. Okay, let's talk about the Salem River. Guess we could talk about that while we're here. Might as well. Salem River is, so this is our training area. It is the strongest current in New Jersey coming out of this area. If we zoom out, you can see why. All this area back here, you can trace it. This entire wildlife refuge area is a big giant lake, a tidal lake that gets filled up by the river and is drained by the river every tidal change. So as the tide's coming in, the tide's going to rush in to fill this lake. As the tide comes out, it's going to be like the plug is pulled on the bathtub, and this entire lake is going to drain out the river. So the current is going to be starting as we enter the Delaware River, as we enter the Salem River. And it can be a challenge to do so. Let's see if this will rotate. Let's put this back to the satellite view, because I really like that. And that could be helpful here. Go back to 3D. Oh, that's some fancy stuff here. Rotate. Okay, coming in the Salem River. Some things to be mindful of. You have shallows on both spots. You're going to have shallows on your port side. They just did a dredging effort in here to deepen this channel, but not to widen the channel. They do have a container ship that comes in and out of here, but the whole purpose of this was to deepen the channel, not to widen the channel. Okay, so coming in here, we can see on the port side this entire area is really shallow. Okay, so you want to be making sure that you're going to stick to this channel. And how do we know that we're in this channel? My best way to know is to use this center green channel marker. I'm not sure if you can tell here, but there's kind of like a triangle here between this one, between these three. We're going to use that as our range, and we're going to make this green light. We're going to keep this green light in the center. And we're going to drive straight to that green light. Okay, going to zoom out. Now if I take that green light, I'm going to do a straight line. I'm going to bring it out. And you can see that as soon as we get between these first two channel markers, it takes us straight in there without any issue. All right, so as we're coming in, change it to pen. We'll be coming in, we'll be good. And as soon as we get to that channel marker, we take that B line straight for that green. It's a light at night. Actually, that light's on 24/7. And just drive straight to that, and you'll be good to go without any issue. If you're looking for a place to hang out, this beach along the side here, this is Oakwood Beach, I believe. I always give it the wrong name. Yeah, Oakwood Beach. Great place to hang out. You can anchor all along this shore, plenty of area. You do have to be careful though, because right at the mouth here, you can see how the river kind of comes out. You see how the river comes out here, goes around. Well, since it goes around, it kind of creates like a sandbar here. So you got to be careful not to go across that sandbar. But you can come in here, go around the sandbar, and you can go along the beach without a problem. You can anchor anywhere along that beach, hop off, get over to the shore, and have a good time. Okay. All right, coming in the river. I'll just turn this so we can keep it centered on the screen. The river has a fork in the road right here. You either turn to the port or you can go straight. What you have here is, believe it or not, the river in its natural form goes to the port. This section of the river, believe it or not, was carved out as an extension to the C&D Canal. This was carved out as a part of the C&D excavation project in order to grant access to the industrial area. So you have two options here. You can either go to the port or you can go straight. All depends on where you want to go. There's a couple marinas in here. we have Barber's Basin Marina right here on the right. Barber's Basin, if you haven't heard, she just put her marina up for sale not too long ago. She currently charges about $15 a boat to use the ramp. I do not know what she charges for a slip, but that is where we run all of our on-water classes out of. Great people, small parking lot, but great people. They'll help you out if you're stuck or need anything. Okay, or if you go to the port, go to the left side, follow the river around. The first marina you come to is Stanton's. Circle this one. This is Stanton's Marina. Stanton's, I believe they also charge $15, maybe it's $20 a boat to drop the boat in. Something to be mindful of on Stanton's side. Guess you know what I'll do? I will zoom out. I'll put them both here. So we have Stanton's and we have Barber's. I don't want to kind of play favorites here. So Barber's Marina, it's really low at low tide. So shallow that my pontoon boat can get stuck in the slip at low tide. Stanton's, the ramp dumps right into the Salem River. Right? And what did I say about the Salem River? The Salem River is the strongest current in New Jersey for water because of all that water up in that wildlife refuge that has to drain out. So that can pose its own challenges getting the boat on and off the trailer while you're using the ramp. So which one do you want to use? Do you want to use the ramp that can be a challenge to get it on and off at low tide? Or do you want to use the ramp that can be a challenge to get on and off at any tide because of the current? Again, flip of a coin, your choice. Delete that. Okay, back in here, I'm not sure if you see the anchor here. This is an anchorage. I hope every now and then you'll see if you're a cruiser coming to this area. Some people skip the Delaware City Marina on their way north or on their way south, and they pull up into the Salem River and they anchor their boat overnight right along this spot here. It's a good spot to hang out for the evening. They do it all the time, especially in the shoulder months at the end of the beginning of this summer or at the end of the summer. You'll probably see some boats in there anytime now, probably at the end of April and all through May. The next marina we come across here, which is right here, this is the Salem Boat Club. Reached out to them a couple times. They have a couple programs going on. Never met the people, but they're there. They have a whole bunch of slips. Usually have a whole bunch of boats sitting out there. If you're looking for fuel in this area, in the Salem River, you have fuel at Barber's Basin. I do not believe you have fuel at Stanton's Marine. I forgot to mention that there is fuel and diesel at the Delaware City Marina. Okay, now that we exited the Salem River, we're back onto the Delaware River, and we're going to be going south on the Delaware River. First thing that we come across here on the port side is an island. That is the Reedy Island. You can also see that the sandbar from the island extends pretty far, right? The island starts here, has a sandbar that goes all the way up to the C&D Canal entrance, It comes all the way back. It tends to be a theme for most of the sandbars and the islands along the Delaware River. Okay. You can, I believe you can anchor up and beach along the edge of the reedy island. Just be mindful if you are going north and you don't realize that it is reedy island, because this does have that big giant sandbar hook, just like Pea Patch Island does. Not only did it go all the way up to the C&D Canal, but it came all the way down here too. It's a humongous island. So if you are brave and you decide to go on this side of the island and not stay on this side of it, you can get hung up as you get all the way up north. Because at low tide, it might not be you might not be able to cross the sandbar up by the C&D Canal because it gets really shallow up there. I'm going to switch back to the NOAA chart so you can see the security zone around this plant. This is the Hope Creek Power Station. The Hope Creek Power Station does have a security zone around it. I haven't been stopped by anybody if you cross that security zone, but it is there, so make sure that you respect it. Don't anchor in it, don't hang out in it. Let me see if I can annotate it for you. I like the yellow. So we have a line here. Right there like that. So they don't want you hanging out in that area. They don't want you anchoring in that area. Okay. I keep going south a little bit. Okay, now right around here, it's actually something important. Pretty cool. This is, see if I can make this not 3D anymore. Back to 2D. Zoom it out and turn it. Okay. Now I'm going to load it for me. There it is. There is a monument right around here that indicates it's right here. So if you want to write that, Caitlin, can you put that coordinates in the chat? That is the coordinates for a monument. There's a one on both sides of the Delaware River here. That is the delineation or the top, the bottom of the Delaware River and the top of the Delaware Bay. There's a monument on this side of the river, and there's a monument on this side of the river. This one. Leave that The one on the Jersey side is on the mud. The one on the Jersey side is in the mud over here. Sorry, I had to look at the other chart that is not showing up on this one. Further I zoom in, the closer you see it. And you can't get to it by boat. So the closest thing you'll be able to do is get to like the shallows over here. And then you'll be able to see it with the binoculars. You can't get to it by boat because it's on the mud flat. The New Jersey side is right here. Okay, and if you want to grab that GPS coordinates, the Latin long for that, that's the New Jersey side of the Delaware River Monument. Okay. All right, we're gonna slide down a little bit south here. I think we're approaching, pivot it here to see where we're at. 'Cause the numbers are kind of going screwy here. Okay, so depending upon where you're going at this point, you really have to know what your weather is. I don't think we're going to be going much beyond this point. I know originally we talked to go into the Cohansey River. The Cohansey River is right here. This big yellow circle right here, that's indicating a lighthouse. And the Argo app is fighting me at this point. Yeah, it's fighting me. Okay. So I think we're going to stop here mainly because the Argo app is fighting me. It doesn't want to keep going beyond here for the purpose of this conversation. Because I think I want to talk about going into the next one is going to be reading the weather before we enter the Delaware Bay, because it's going to be really important to understand what direction the wind is coming from, and what direction the current is going, and what direction the tide is going, to understand if it's going to be a good day or a bad day on the Delaware Bay. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to stop it for now. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to look at something I didn't zoom in on?
Hey, Captain
You're
Paul,
welcome.
this is Bill.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to chime in to reiterate what I said on my chat, that it was just awesome information and easy to follow, and just great information for boaters who want to navigate that section of rivers. A lot of times I had said it last time, kind of intimidating, to go do. And with you opening up, your knowledge and the chart and following the chart, it's just a wealth of information. So I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Ed. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill.
No, it's good. It's great that you're sharing your knowledge with people that want to go out. I hope that there's people out there that are going to chime in, or join in, or maybe watch the recorded version of it. Find it useful.
Oh, I would
Yeah,
agree with Bill. For somebody like me, typically the Delaware River is just used just to get somewhere. Maybe you're doing a delivery, maybe up as far as Timber Creek or something like that. But really, the fine points that you've gone over and points of interest have been very interesting to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
cool.
This is
Thanks, Ed.
Don Smith. I would just piggyback on what two gentlemen in front of me just said, that I'm not familiar with navigating the river. So this was an interesting learning experience. I will look for the YouTube and refer back to it.
Cool. Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
thank you, and look forward to future ones like this.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on here every Monday and Wednesday until about mid-June right now.
All right.
Awesome. So I'm just going to say I'll sign off and say thanks again, and I will tune in and hopefully see you Wednesday.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for
Okay.
joining, Bill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take care.
Elkie,
Yep.
did I cover everything you needed, or was there anything else that you wanted me to cover?
No, that was good. We've navigated as far as the C&D. So some of that was familiar, but always some good tips and tricks. And, someday maybe want to cruise down to Cape May, but so I'm interested to hear what you have to say going into the Delaware Bay. May not be something we might want to attempt, but maybe something to consider. So, looking forward to hearing more about that. And the points of interest, like we don't know all the little rivers and all the little side trips that we could do, like the Salem Canal. So, just learning more about what there is to do on the river is great. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I think Wednesday I'm going to cover. Wednesday I was supposed to go over the Delaware. I think this Delaware City. I think I did what I was supposed to do on Wednesday today. Yeah, so Wednesday I'm supposed to cover the Salem River, C&D Canal, Delaware City, and the other tributaries. But I think I'm going to do the C&D Canal, and I might start working my way south on. Maybe I'll split the Delaware Bay into two. Maybe I'll do the Jersey side, and I'll do the Pennsylvania side, or the Jersey side, and I'll do the middle of the bay, because there's not really much on the Delaware side, but we'll try to cover it as much as I can. Yeah.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Unless anybody has anything else, thanks again. I will talk to everybody next time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Signing
You're welcome.
off.
Thank you.